And publish. Try again. And publish.
It's frustrating. You pour your heart, mind, and soul into a piece of content, hit publish, and hardly anyone shares it. Wondering why that keeps happening? Here's why. Mark, is it true that most content doesn't get many social shares?
It's true, Eric, and now we have the numbers to prove it. A recent study by BuzzSumo and Moz showed that 50% of content gets less than 11 Twitter shares, and the vast majority of content published gets no shares at all.
But is the number of social shares always the best measure of the success of a piece of content?
No, not at all. In fact, content can still be successful without social shares. It just depends on your goals for the content and how you market that content. For example, you might drive significant traffic to a post from your email newsletter. Also, some content on your site may not be the kind of thing that people jump to share with their friends, but still have great value in helping your prospects along the journey to becoming customers. But at the end of the day, most of us are creating at least some of our content in the hope that it will increase our audience and exposure, and social shares can be a significant way to do that. So if you're getting little or no shares for your content, it can get frustrating.
So why isn't most content getting significant social sharing?
Well, my friend Russ Jones over at Moz did an analysis of what he calls million-dollar content. Now this is content that gets traffic that would cost $1 million to obtain through pay-per-click ads, despite residing on sites with relatively low authority. Now, as part of that study, which you can read at the link on your screen now, Russ asked me to analyze the social shares leading to such content. I found that in the content in Russ's sample group, 45% had no social shares at all, and 66% had fewer than 300 shares. This confirms that content can be successful without social sharing. But I did find that a significant number of the highest performing content pieces in the group had a high number of social shares. And it's interesting that many of these were on the lowest domain authority sites in the group.
Interesting. So what were some of the common characteristics of those content pieces that were so highly shared?
Well, one factor was having content elements that are highly optimized to appeal to a certain audience, or even the typical audience of a particular platform. For example, this post at stayglam.com about creative nail designs contained 80 bright images like the one you're seeing right now. Those images are exactly the kind of thing Pinterest users love to share. Beautiful, colorful, arresting images having to do with fashion. So, not surprisingly, the post has nearly 1 million shares on Pinterest. And by the way, the post itself had no social sharing buttons. This shows that when content is very appealing to an audience and evokes an experience they want to share with others, people will go out of their way to share it. Another content type that tends to get more shared is how-to content. A study by HubSpot found that content with the word how in the title is among the most shared on Twitter. Now here's a great example, an article on how to get rid of pimples. A lot of people search for solutions to that problem, so it's not surprising that there is a ton of content out there trying to answer the need. But this particular piece stands out because it goes above and beyond to be the best and most shareable answer. For example, they included some useful and visually appealing infographics. And once again, this is an example of a post people found so useful and informative, they went out of their way to share it. Like the nail design post, this one also had no social sharing buttons, yet it got over 73,000 shares. And sometimes content can earn shares just by being highly useful or providing a resource people need, even if it has no visual appeal whatsoever. A study commissioned by the New York Times showed that people share more when content has entertainment value or helps them define themselves to their friends or helps them build relationships and alliances or gives them a sense of self-fulfillment. Now, quotations fulfill all four of those needs. This page has almost no visual appeal. It's just a long list of inspirational quotes, but a lot of people recognized it as a cool resource for something they like, and so it gained over 15,000 social shares.
So then what is the bottom line for shareable content?
Well, I think first you have to accept that not every content piece is going to go viral on social media. And as I said earlier, not every piece needs to do that to be considered successful. But we're seeing that posts that do get highly shared tend to have one or more of the following characteristics. First, they may contain elements that appeal highly to a particular audience or platform. Second, they may be highly useful, providing the best answer to a question that many people ask. And finally, they may speak to very basic human needs that help bring people together in social groups.
Thanks, Mark. Okay, content creators, your job is now to decide whether social shares is a worthwhile or even necessary goal for your content. And if it is, then to build the best possible content that addresses the areas that Mark just shared with you. And if you found this content to be useful, then what should you do? Oh, I know. You should share it with others. And thanks for doing that.
And be sure to join us for the next episode of Here's Why, for part 2 of this series, where I'll explain why your content isn't getting more links. We'll see you then.